Welcome to NCBA's Cattlemen's Call podcast with host Lane Nordland.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cattlemen's Call podcast. Lane Nordland, happy to be with you as always. And as we make our way through this year end almost, we are almost wrapped up with 2024. I just want to give a shout out to CattleCon. That's coming up the 4th through the 6th of February down in San Antonio. Make sure and get registered today. And we'll talk a little more about how you could even be involved with the podcast down at convention as well. But today we are really honored to be joined by Wyoming First Lady Jennie Gordon, Kelcey Christensen of 307 Meat Company, and Breean Waller, the Regional Director for Wyoming Hunger Initiative. And all three of our guests today have something in common, and that's a passion for feeding the food insecure across Wyoming and ensuring people receive protein-rich foods, which that's what we love to talk about here on the Cattlemen's Call, protein-rich foods like beef. And they are helping children and families through the new Beef for Backpacks program. So first off, I want to thank all three of you for joining us here on the podcast today. But first off, First Lady Gordon, I know you're a rancher, you and the Governor Mark, of course, a rich history of ranching there in Wyoming. But for our audience that isn't familiar with you and your husband and the role you play there in the state, talk about your background and your cattle operation here today.
Sure. Well, we're a cow-calf operation in Northeast Wyoming, and we also replace our own heifers. So we have a lot of cattle that we've been working with over the years, mostly Angus with a little bit of F1 cross. And it's really important for me to want to advocate for agriculture and for the industry that we're in, which I think is something that we don't do enough in Wyoming or actually in the nation. So happy to be a part of that program.
Well, again, thank you for joining us here today. And Breean, from your perspective with Wyoming Hunger Initiative, let's talk more about that and just involvement on the local level and the state level as well with that program, and maybe a little bit about your background as well.
Yeah, so I grew up on a sugar beet farm in the Bighorn Basin, and my dad has a feedlot. So I also have grown up around cattle. Mostly Black Angus on our side of the mountain. I started with Johnson County Friends Feeding Friends in Buffalo. We're a weekend backpack program. We send home about 140 bags to kids on the weekends throughout Johnson County. And through this experience, I was able to meet Lady Jennie and got in touch with the Wyoming Hunger Initiative. And then Jennie was kind enough to ask me to join her team. So I'm now acting as the regional director for all of Northeast Wyoming. So I work with the other backpack programs throughout our area and also the food pantries and throughout this whole place. But one of the biggest concerns or the hardest things for our weekend bags is we have to send home everything shelf stable. So that kind of limits our protein to like tuna and canned chicken. And so, of course, growing up in Wyoming, having a beef background, I just was so excited when Jennie when the Wyoming Hunger Initiative implemented this Beef for Backpacks program. It sends home high quality beef, protein every week, and all the kids that I work with just absolutely love them. They're like the first item that's out the door, and the kids always are wanting more and more of them. So that's kind of my background and how I fit into this program. So.
Well, thanks for joining us and for a description of your role and your work with the program as well. And finally, from 307 Meat Company, Kelcey Christensen joining us as well. Kelcey, how's your day going? And tell us more about 307.
Good. 307, I grew up as a butcher's grandson, and my father was a butcher as well. Spent some time at the University of Wyoming, running the meat lab there, and then I started 307 to really connect the rancher to the plate. into the direct-to-consumer market. And so that's where we started. We grew pretty rapidly out of COVID, and snack sticks were one of my passions when I started at UW and building those. So when we started this, it was an easy fit.
Yep. Well, thanks for joining us. And again, I think it's so important when every aspect of the industry, whether that's the production side, the manufacturing side, and of course just getting product into people's hands is so important, especially for students, because we all know that there is a large portion of students that do come to school, and maybe the only meals they may get are the breakfast, lunch options that are present. And I think this is a great conversation for us here to really share. And let's talk about how this was created. Where did the concept come from? First Lady, I'll start with you. Where did this topic really spark your interest and say, you know what, this could be a great collaborative effort for Wyoming to undertake and work with so many different stakeholders across the state?
Well, yes, imitation is the highest form of flattery. And this concept came about because the great state of Colorado beef stick program approached us about bringing some beef up here. And we were so grateful for the offer, but knew that we could probably stand up a program that Wyoming could be proud of, and that came from our own state. So with their, inspiration, we contacted our stock growers, our beef council. We work with Kelcey, and just kind of came up with an idea of how we were going to get the beef sticks not only the beef donated, but also brought down to Laramie for processing, and then kept getting those sticks back out across the state. So we started small with a pilot project in Laramie County. We did about 1,100 sticks a week for the spring semester, and we were able to accomplish that. And once we did that, we all put our heads together and said, how can we do more? And so it grew after that.
And let's just talk about where these meat sticks come from. Kelcey, obviously, I think this is where we talk about the collaboration of the meat sticks themselves.
Yeah, I can start. So ranchers around the state of Wyoming, or producers, or just individual people, will bring us an animal, a beef animal. They'll donate it to the program. We'll bring it down here to Laramie and we'll process them. And then we'll take that meat and make it into snack sticks. Most of the cattle that we get, are cull cows or bulls that are not useful any longer. And so they're pretty lean. So we keep fat throughout the year off of good fat cattle, and add that into the product. When we did this, I said, well, we're going to develop our own recipe for this program. And so I set out, and my team and I here at 307, we built our own recipe for this program. It's exclusively used for this program. We wanted to make a snack stick that was palatable by a young individual, that was, bit on the sweeter side. So they'll crave it. They'll want to come back to it. And so that's what we did. Typically, it depends on the animal. Some animals will give us about 200 pounds of beef. Some animals will give us 600 to 700 pounds, depending on the size of the animal.
And what has that been like for all three of you to see beeves being donated to a program like that? What has the response been from ranchers out across the countryside? And is there a tax implication too for those that donate to the program?
Sure. Well, they will get a tax letter to, demonstrate that they have done the donation. But it really is just amazing to see how people want to help their neighbors. We try to keep the cattle in the same county that they were donated, and oftentimes they'll exceed what the county needs, and then they'll say, please help out a neighboring county. It takes about 80 beef to do the whole state. We do over 7,000 sticks a week to these kids. So really just having our neighbors helping neighbors is what it's all about.
And Breean, from your perspective, can you share how students qualify for this, and what are the requirements, and how do we continue to get more beef into backpacks?
Yeah, so I can't speak for all backpack programs, but I can speak on the behalf of the one that I run. And we actually don't have any like financial qualifications. What really happens is we have a point of contact at every school in our county, and the teachers and the counselors in the schools really know the kids who are in need. So they're kind of opted in to getting a bag, and then if the family, like if new people move into the community, if they don't want a bag, then they can opt out. So that way, we're trying to make sure we don't miss anybody who's moving into the community. And so just with the beef sticks, like I said earlier, like the kids love them. So I wanted to give a shout out to Kelcey for sure, because the kids definitely keep coming back for that recipe. So he definitely got it down right. Um, we're really blessed here in Buffalo because Mark and Jennie are so kind and always like they've donated the beef for Johnson County since this whole project began, and so. But the bigger counties like Campbell County, they need more beef. They're feeding a lot more kids, and so it's my hope that I can make more connections with ranchers up in this area to help in this process. So that's, I guess, kind of my 2 cents.
What is it like hearing feedback from parents that these kids are bringing home this product? What is that interaction like?
Well, a lot of it, like it's anonymous, so most of the time I don't even know the kids who are receiving. But occasionally, Buffalo is a small town. I'll go to the grocery store and there will be kids. I'll have a cart full of all sorts of food, and they'll be like, "Are you the lady that sends home our bags?" And I said, I say yes, and there's just so much gratitude and really when I moved to Wyoming, or like when I moved to this community, I didn't see the need until I opened my eyes, and then you see the need everywhere. So, yeah, the kids love the beef sticks the best. Probably, they're the first thing they grab out of the bag. I don't even know if they make them home. They're probably eating on the bus half the time. So, yeah, so it's just been a really incredible experience, and really a great way to get some high quality protein to these kids here. So.
And First Lady, what is it like going out and talking with the citizens of Wyoming about this project and the Wyoming Hunger Initiative in general, and how important it is not only for the ranching community to support these endeavors, but all the people of Wyoming to be active and really help not only children out, but those in need across the state?
Well, Wyoming, they always say we're a small town with really long streets, and it doesn't take long for you to know someone who knows someone. So I think when I'm out in the community and share this story and share about the ranchers who are donating, oftentimes, we've had a lot of tragedy. We've had big fires up in the northeast part of the country. We still got cattle donated. Those people, even though they're enduring those hardships, know that they want to help their community and the kids in their community. So I think it's a real sense of pride. I go to the Stalkers meeting every year. We recognize those generous donors. And we've even had people donate fair beef before to different agencies around the state. So I think really the care and concern that people have for their neighbors really is easy to talk about this program and to really sell it to the farmers and ranchers that are donating.
Now, obviously, it does take quite a bit to manage these programs. Can people that aren't in the ranching community make donations to the program as well?
They sure can. We have a website, nohungerwyo.org. And if you want to donate to either the beef stick program or any of our other programs, there is a donate tab for each individual program. We try to have a Wyoming solution to the challenges of hunger in our state. So we have a game meat program, of course, a domestic meat. We ask people if they can grow a little bit extra in their garden during the summer to donate that as well. So really it is an all hands on deck way to help your neighbors in need.
Now, Kelcey, bringing it back to you as well, formulating something that kids enjoy, that could be quite the task. What was that like? And maybe it's a secret recipe, so I don't want you to divulge too much information there. But what was it like creating the recipe for these beef sticks, and what do you feel like after each batch comes out?
Yes, well, I had a base recipe that we started with, and I have two really good test people that live in my family, a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old, that were great at taste testing for me. So I think we went through about 4 or 5 different renditions of the batches before we come up with something that um, was not too sweet and was healthy still, and that they crave. So it can be a marathon at times. Sometimes we don't have a lot of beef coming in, and then the next thing we turn around, we got a lot of beef that are showing up at the door to get processed, and then we get pushed up against the school year and have to get it pushed out. Some weeks we're doing 20,000 sticks a day processing them, so it gets pretty intense at times, but my crew and I and my family's super invested in it. It's just very humbling. It's very rewarding to know that we're feeding our family and feeding families around the state of Wyoming, and those kids every week, making sure that they're staying full until they get back to school on Monday.
First Lady, what are the next steps for this program? Where are some opportunities for growth? Maybe some maybe different products that maybe you're going to focus on, and how can folks become more involved?
Sure. Well, right now we're pretty committed to getting beef sticks to every student in the state. We still have one county we're working on, but once we get in there, we know we'll be able to provide those kids with some great healthy products. So, right now we're working on just doing the project that we've got in front of us, but we're always wanting to find ways to help folks in need. And so we've identified pantries throughout the state and new backpack programs. Every day we find out it's surprising how people are working and paying for them out of their own pockets. So these beef sticks are free to every student in the state. We ensure that the backpack programs can then use the rest of their funding to provide other items in the bag. So being able to do that is something that I'm so proud of the Hunger Initiative for.
And what's it been like? Maybe is there any collaboration, say, with the Wyoming Beef Council? And I know work with the Wyoming stock growers as well. Well, what has that been like, and what's the feedback that you've received from these two entities on, of course, that promote cattle and beef, but also are really a mainstay there in the state's economy?
Yeah, the stock growers has been amazing. They've helped us identify donors and actually have worked together to get beef down to 307. We've worked with Steer a Year at the University of Wyoming, and sometimes there's just a rancher that happens to be traveling through and can pick up several loads as they're coming. So being able to work with stock growers is, it's imperative. They're one of our main partners. And then the Beef Council was really, when we first started and continue to be, just a huge partner. They helped us. They paid for the film to do the shrink wrap on the labels. They helped get the USDA labeling done in conjunction with Kelcey. So really, just people who want to promote beef in our state have come together in such an amazing way.
Well, Jim Magagna was sure talking it up there the last time I saw him there at the NCBA meeting. So he's excited about it. And if Jim's excited about it, everybody should be excited about it. But what are some things that you would just like to share, the three of you, with our friends that are listening on how maybe they could work with their respective states or entities to start programs like this, similar to yours and Colorado's, and really put ranchers' products in people's hands and help kids out along the way.
Well, I think just if you do want to start something up, I would say start small, start with a pilot project and work out some of the bugs. Initially, the film that Kelcey had to be cut open with a pair of scissors, and oftentimes those kids didn't have scissors. So, thanks to him, he was able to really do a huge investment into this project by getting shrink wrap that was easy to open. So I would say work through the bugs before you start something statewide because it can be a challenge. But once you've done maybe one county or one area and you've gotten it figured out, go back and work through the process again. We talk to Kelcey all the time. Poor Kelcey is like, no, don't call me anymore. I've got work to do. But he's super receptive. And then also think about the other side, with Breean distributing the sticks. What do they need? How can we help them promote their programs and help those individual students in their area? Because it is, if they are hungry, they probably have other needs. So trying to find some wraparound services for the families is very important. So, and never give up. I mean, just keep trying. So that's my motto.
Breean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, the Wyoming Hunger Initiative, they've done an amazing job of going to every region in the state, and we get to gather all of the backpack programs, the food pantries, kind of all together in the same room, and we really get to discuss, like, what our challenges are, what we can do to improve, how we can help each other, and that really brings a huge togetherness, and then we all feel like we're fighting for the same cause. And so I would love to see Beef for Backpacks go to Idaho, Montana, like basically every state. Like, we have the quality protein, we have the cattle, let's feed the kids. And if I was to buy protein for our program, I probably couldn't do it because it's really pricey to buy any type of jerky or any type of meat stick through Costco or Sam's Club or any of those big online places. And so it's just been amazing, because the money that I now can use for other food, because the Wyoming Hunger Initiative has provided these meat sticks for us. So yeah, it's such an incredible program, and I hope that other agencies can jump on board.
And Kelcey, what are your thoughts? Maybe some advice to other meat companies out there that may be looking at supporting a program like this, and your thoughts on the importance of being a player in it, but also maybe some technical thoughts along with it.
Yeah, we don't make a profit off of this program. It's we do it at absolute cost, and so that's part of it. It's being invested in it. It's not for us to make money at. Then, like Jennie said, to take it slow. We started off with some packaging. We moved to a different style of packaging because we knew that packaging was hard for a student to open. Cost of production. If you go out and buy that same snack stick through Costco, it's going to be $2 or plus per package. We've got that cost of production at least at half, if not less than half, with beef being donated. So those are some things. My phone's always open. My email's always open. Glad to help out anybody. Probably won't share a recipe, but I can give some advice on how to develop it. So.
Well, again, this is a great program, and I appreciate all three of you joining us to talk about it, shine some light on it. But before we do leave, I do just want to remind our listeners that we'll be attending Cattle Convention. CattleCon 25 is heading to San Antonio, February 4th through the 6th. Make sure and get registered for convention at convention.ncba.org. And also, on Wednesday, February 5th, we will be taping the Cattlemen's Call podcast at the IMI Global Trade Show booth, number 3363. Make sure and stop by, say hello, and we will be giving away some giveaways there as well. Maybe some meat sticks. I don't know, but we are in a time of giving. The holidays are upon us. First Lady, I guess I'll let you have the closing thoughts here today. What are some things you would just like our listeners from across the nation to walk away with here today, whether it's about giving to programs like the Beef for Backpacks, or just coming together and supporting each other? Because I know so many Wyoming producers impacted by catastrophic wildfire this year, and a lot of folks from across the nation came together to support them during their very difficult times.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, number one, I always say give where you live. So if you're not sure where to give, start looking around your community and find your neighbors in need and the pantries that are serving them. And one last thought I always want to share with people is that there's a lot of stigma around asking for help and for getting these type of programs going. So just remember, everyone is one emergency away from being that person in need. So if you can actually help those today, then perhaps in the future, when you or your friends need some help, they will be there for you. And agriculture is always feeding the world and this nation. So look to your folks in agriculture that are supporting and feeding this entire nation.
Well, again, you can check out more for the Wyoming Beef for Backpacks by visiting the Wyoming Hunger Initiative online. Producers can learn more about donating livestock to the program, or if you'd like to make a monetary donation as well, all those details can be found there. So Breean, Kelcey, and First Lady Gordon, thank you so much for joining us here today. But before I leave, is there anything that maybe I left out that we should bring up before I let you go back to your busy days?
Well, I just want to give a huge shout out to Breean because she does a lot of volunteer work for this program and travels all over the Northeast region and really the state to help. And then thank you to Kelcey. Kelcey, we could not do this without you. And I know we call you and ask you so many times to take another animal on. So thank you, because without you, this program would be nothing.
Yeah, thanks, Lane, for having us on here and spreading the word for us. We sure appreciate it.
Thank you.
You bet. Well, happy to do it, and it's a great program. And again, hopefully, if you're listening from a state that doesn't have a program like this, maybe it sparks some ideas for you to get involved and help get your high-quality beef protein in the hands of those that could sure use it as well. Well, with that, friends, thanks for joining us here on the Cattlemen's Call podcast. Check us out again at booth 3363 on Wednesday, February 5th, 2024 at the IMI Global Trade Show booth there at CattleCon, and we'll see what we'll be giving away to you, but we'll also be broadcasting from there as well. With that, friends, thanks for joining us on NCBA's Cattlemen's Call podcast. I'm Lane Nordlund. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to NCBA's Cattlemen's Call podcast with Lane Nordlund. For more information, visit ncba.org and make sure to subscribe to the podcast today.